Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2024 Lincoln Navigator L Black Label. Huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this jumbo SUV for me today. Take a look at the website, that link is down in the description. This Navigator is finished off in Manhattan Green Metallic. MSRP start right at $111,000. Now this is powered by the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6. It's paired to the 10-speed automatic, and it pumps out 440 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the full-time four-wheel drive system, propelling this nearly 6,000-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds. It has a top speed of 115 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 27 gallons for the L version. You'll expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city, 22 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 131.6 inches. Its overall length is 221.9. It has a width of 93.8, a height of 76.1, and its ground clearance measures in at 9.6 inches. Now, as we work our way back to the front of this jumbo SUV, you'll notice that the Lincoln logo is right in the middle. There's also a very large grille with a lot of chrome accents, giving it a great touch, but all of those inlets will provide a lot of cooling to that engine. You'll notice too that there's more chrome for the entire surround, as well as in the middle section there, with some more cutouts just underneath that. Now this is also equipped with LEDs for the headlights, DRLs. Turn signals are actually right in the middle, so there is a separation for those housings, as well as having LED fog lights just above that chrome strip in the lower section. There's also some more gloss black accents, as well as all of the parking sensors, and the integrated front camera is at the bottom of that Lincoln logo, which is a really nice touch to see. And then there's a few lines coming down the hood just to give it a great look. Now this Lincoln is also equipped with a set of 22-inch wheels with a two-tone design, multi-spoke pattern too. I think it's a really nice wheel option for this model. Now Navigator is just behind that, finished off in chrome with some gloss black accents. There's also the power folding side mirrors with the chrome end caps. There's the turn signal, camera up underneath, and then gloss black for that base. There's more chrome for the lower section of the window trim. There's also more chrome on the roof rails. Full moonroof is up top too. And then you'll notice more chrome in the lower section, as well as in that back corner there, and a crisp line that runs right above those door handles. For being the L, it is a little bit more stretched, so you have some more cargo space, but I still think it has some great proportions to it. Now this also has the body colored spoiler. There's the third brake light. Wiper blade is in the lower section. There's more chrome that wraps around the entire back there. It's also in the middle section, separating the LED taillights, where this also has that bar that runs right above it, which is a neat accent. There's the backup camera, all the parking sensors. This can also tow right around 8,100 pounds. And then it does have remote start, so let's lock it, double tap this. It will fire right up very quickly. You can also double tap on that to shut it off if needed. And you can use the key fob to open up the liftgate. What you can't do with the key fob is open up the glass. So over on this left side, if you push on this button, this is how you can open up the glass. So if you have some smaller items, you can quickly grab them so you don't have to open up the entire power liftgate. And then over on the right side, there's the same button, but for the power liftgate. So that is how you can open that up. And with the third row up, this is the amount of space that you have. So like I said, with the L version, it is stretched to give you that much more space. There's also some storage underneath the floor, so you can lift this up where you have a little bit of hidden storage. Over on this driver's side, there's a small compartment there. There's also this entire tray for your third row passengers. That is on both sides. There's a 12 volt as well. And then also over on this left side, this is how you can fold the seats down. Now the third row is power operating for the up and down adjustments. You can just push on them and they will slowly go down. And then you can get a look at how much more storage you have if you don't have third row passengers. And then of course you can fold down the second row just by pushing on these buttons. They will automatically go down. They are manual to go back up, so they do only have that one adjustment. And then the third row is manual as well. You can actually push the button right in the middle to do both of them, and then you have the individual adjustments if you just need one up or down. So plenty of space. There's also tie down hooks as well. And then on this driver's side, there's only one button to close the power liftgate. There's no lock button, but when you walk away from the vehicle, it will lock. So you do have that. Now as we work our way to the interior, there's chrome on the door handles. You can also lock and unlock this from all 4 doors, and then we have the power side steps, which will deploy. Now for this interior, you'll notice the brushed aluminum there. We have some gloss black accents, some dark green for the leather. There's also wood trim, black leather up top, and then a lot of storage in the lower section. And then that green works its way to the interior, where we have the beautiful captain's chairs for the second row. Now these seats do move forwards and backwards, so there's that bar right there. And then you have your manual adjustments to recline and incline. And then this control here, you'll pop up the entire seat, push it forwards, and that will give you access into the third row. So at 5'10", I can hop into the back where you can put 3 people back here. Look at the amount of space that there is. And like I said, you can even move that seat forwards to give you that much more storage. Now right in the middle, there's a small tray here where you can place your phone or some smaller items. And then at 5'10", I have about 1 inch or so of headroom. Honestly, it's not bad. You have adjustments here where you can even recline these seats, so that way you can get a little bit more comfortable. And there's air vents up top. So really you have plenty of space along with those storage bins that I showed earlier. So 3 people could easily ride around in the back. And then once you get out, you can lock that seat back into place. There's also a grab handle too that you can use. And as you would expect, plenty of room in the second row. There's also storage pockets. Right in the middle, there's some auxiliaries. You can open this up too to reveal 2 cup holders. And then you do have some sunshade adjustments. So you can actually use that for the upper sunshade there to open or close it, which is nice to see. There's 2 cup holders behind that. And then take a look at this LCD screen. Where we have these seats, you can get into your heated and ventilated captain's chairs. There's also the climate adjustments, so you can get into that. You have audio, so when you have the audio on, you can go through all of this and adjust it as needed. The last one is different settings. So you have a display, you have calm, brightness, mode. Pretty neat to see that. Very easy to use, and the time is up top there as well. And then there's more wood trim with the armrests on both sides where you have plenty of storage space. There's also a lot of storage down below where you can place some items as needed. Very comfortable to be in the second row. You have quite a lot of amenities there. For the driver door panel, you'll notice that we have all these seating adjustments. So those are on the door panel along with the memory seating controls. You do have some adjustments to move some of the other seats, so you can move those as needed. There's also the massaging functions. There's the window adjustments, mirror controls, lock and unlock, and then plenty more storage in that lower section. And then the same design for these seats. Now what's interesting, you can actually adjust the upper section and the lower section independently. So you have a lot of adjustments for these seats to get that much more comfortable. Now there's the solid leather steering wheel with some more wood trim and chrome accents. But let's start this back up where this has the paddle shifters. We have an interesting chime there. Now on this left side, there's volume along with tuning, all of the cruise control settings for your distance pacing as well as lane keeping. On the right side, you have the head-up display, music, navigation, all of these shortcuts here for Bluetooth, and then you even have these arrows as well to go through the digital gauge cluster. So as you can tell, there's quite a lot of information on this one page here, but over on that right side, I can use these arrows now to further go through all of this information. And then you can even get into the head-up display. So you can go through this menu here to make those adjustments, and hopefully you can see it's a very large head-up display. It's currently showing your range, what gear you're in, miles per hour, outside temperature, and the time. And then there is a sensor right there just to monitor, make sure you are paying attention. Now on this left side, there's the liftgate release, all the headlight adjustments, dimmer switches, a pedal adjustment so you can bring those closer or farther away. There's one air vent, really neat wood trim accent over on that left side. There's one of the speakers up top with more leather on the dash, and then we have the large infotainment system. Now if you recognize this from Ford models, this is very, very identical. So we have all of the presets in the lower section to get through all of this information, even pulling up the map here. There's several apps, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, various settings that you can get into, so you can go through all of this as needed. And then there's a few features. You can go into towing, you can adjust your running boards, you have your driver assistance. Then there's this split page over on the right side. So you can go through all this information and still have info on that left. Right in the middle, there's 2 air vents, along with a shortcut to the camera system. So you have quite a lot of angles that you can get into. Currently it's on the forward-facing camera. If I put it into reverse, just by pushing on R down below, the backup camera will appear, and you can go through all of those angles as needed. There's neutral, drive, and then park on that left side. Now underneath that, there's volume and tuning along with a few other audio adjustments. And then there's AC controls along with your heated and ventilated seats. There's even a menu dial, so you can go into that, configure where you'd like the air to go, along with getting to the heated steering wheel. There's also a rear adjustment as well. So that way you can control the rear climates from up front, which is really nice. There's the temperature dials on both sides, and then you have the rotary dial for the fan speed there. Now behind that, there's 2 cup holders along with a little bit of storage. You can hide that away. You can also open up this side where there's wireless charging and some auxiliaries. So you have a little bit more storage there as well. Now behind that, there's the e-brake with your auto hold, engine start stop. There's the parallel parking feature, and then we have different drive modes. So just twist on that dial, and then on the gauge cluster, you have a few different settings. We have Excite, Conserve, Normal. There's also Normal for the auto, and then you have Slick, Ice, and Loose surfaces, and then the last one is Deep conditions like snow or mud. So just depending on what you need, the vehicle will put it into the correct 4-wheel drive settings. There's 2 armrests with more of that wood trim in the middle. You can also push on either armrest here to open up the armrest, where you have plenty of space. It's a very large compartment there to place additional items. And then the glove box has a lot more space down below, and there's more of that wood trim accent up top. Now there's the rear view mirror. You have a sunglass holder up top along with the sunshade adjustments. You have the dome lights as well, which are touch sensitive. And then here's a look at visibility. It's a long vehicle, but you do have some large windows there, so you can see over both shoulders. You have a little bit of a pillar there, but it's really not all that bad. As we set up behind the wheel now for the Lincoln Navigator L, this is the first time that I've been in this particular model. Now I have been in the Ford Expedition quite a few times. This is nearly identical with Ford and Lincoln being in the same company there. So we have a very similar feel for the Expedition that I've been behind the wheel of, but this is a lot more expensive. So we have a lot more nicer materials. We have what I'll say is probably an 18-way power adjustable front seats. With all these various settings that you can go into, you can really dial this in to be extremely comfortable. As far as driving it now, the suspension seems to be very nice. Now there's no adaptive suspension, there's no settings for the suspension, which is interesting to see for its 6-figure price tag. You would think this would have adaptive suspension to raise and lower as well. I'm not sure if that's an option or not, but regardless, it seems to drive very, very nicely. And also out on the road now, we have the speed limit sign on the heads-up display along with the lane keeping assist to help you along with your distance pacing. So it's very large to view that front and center. But this would be a great SUV if you are always hauling a lot of people around. You have 5 in the back there and a lot of space. So you could have this vehicle packed full of people and bring all of their items with you in the back there. You can even tow with this as well. So if you need it for those purposes, you have a very practical daily driving SUV that's going to give you creature comforts as well. Now, what I will say, the technology doesn't seem to be an overkill, which I like. I like the size of the screen. I like what I'll say the minimum features. Now, we have quite a lot in there, but when you compare it to some other brands like Mercedes-Benz, for example, it's not on the same level as far as the various settings that those models have, but I like it. I like the simplicity of it with the amount of tech that you get. And in normal mode, mild acceleration, it's impressive for the weight of this vehicle how a mild acceleration gets us up to speed without even feeling like it's struggling. So we have plenty of power for this model, and it's very nice. It's super quiet. You definitely ride high up too. So if you're looking for basically a truck, it's going to give you that feel as far as how high you are up off the ground. And it's a pretty easy vehicle to drive. If you're buying something like this, of course, you're going to get used to the length of it, where to park, things like that. We do have the parallel parking, which is a very helpful feature, especially if you're taking this in the city or some smaller roads like that. It might be a little bit tricky, but if you need the practicalities, you'll make it work, of course. And so it's very nice. We have Alcantara for the headliner, which I don't think I mentioned earlier. And let's go ahead and put it into the Excite. Now, I'm not sure with the paddle shifters, we can just go ahead and use them. There's no settings here to activate them, so you can just push on one if you need it. And we'll go down into a second gear, give it another acceleration. Sounds pretty good too. For the twin turbo V6, you could also call it the EcoBoost V6, which is Ford's saying for their twin turbo models. And with it in sport mode, still second gear, here we go. And nice acceleration, we are up to speed. So the paddles are pretty responsive if and when you need to use them. And then as I let off of the paddles, it will default back into the normal driving mode. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the Lincoln Navigator L. Definitely a beautiful interior. This is a vehicle that you can definitely daily drive. It's going to give you the comfort. Basically, you're getting a luxury vehicle without, it's still going to have that luxury cost to it, being 6 figures. But you can get into a vehicle if you're not interested in other brands like an Audi or Mercedes. You want something that is going to be a little bit larger. This is going to be more on par with like a Cadillac Escalade or something of that size. So if you're looking for a vehicle like that, this is definitely a top contender for what you get for the cost. Now, obviously, with the Black Label, you're going to have more on the higher trim level, and as far as being the L as well, it's going to cost a little bit more than a normal Navigator. So you don't have to get the L version, which is basically the long wheelbase or the longer version compared to a non-L. So again, just depending on your budget and what you would like to spend. And then as far as maneuverability goes, this is a very tight steering. So it's pretty impressive, again, for its size and what you can do. But that is going to wrap it up for the 2024 Lincoln Navigator L Black Label. Once again, a huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this jumbo SUV for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.